This episode of the Brilliance plus Passion podcast is brought to you by Groundhog Day is an event, not a business strategy. Are you ready to finally solve those pesky issues that keep holding back your business success and never seem to go away? Embrace the power of the S.P.R.I.N.G formula that unearths the issues and opportunities burrowed beneath the surface, and grow your business so you thrive from your intersection of your brilliance and your passion. Claim your copy today at www.thegroundhogbook.com. Welcome to the Brilliance plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. With us right now, we have Kellan Fluckiger, who is known as the ultimate life guy. Let me just tell you a little bit about him. He has a 30-year executive career in the energy industry in the United States and Canada. Since 2008, he's been the coach to connect people to their divine power to do things they don't believe they can do. He also has a worldwide clientele. He's the author of 13 books, and he performs in a musical group that has charted #1 on the Billboard 4 times. A very interesting guy, one I'm very happy to be speaking with today. Kellan, welcome aboard.
Hey, Adam, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. First question. How does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
If each person who lived and breathed made 2 decisions, one to be the very best they could be and to add good to the world with every choice and every decision and every breath, imagine how pleasant, peaceful, productive, and powerful the world would be, and we all individually could be. I literally do that. One, for myself and clients, help them prepare for each day, love themselves, love those around them, connect, and produce from that place of divinity and personal peace.
That's great. So just for our listeners fully understand, what is it that you do in your own words?
I'm the ultimate catalyst for personal transformation. Now, that's a mouthful, and somebody says, what is that? Well, what that means is I help people who are ending our collective addiction to average, who are done settling and ready to create big things, however they define them. They're determined to be extraordinary as parents, leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, authors, artists, visionaries, and individuals.
That's fantastic. In your experience, what are a few of the most common questions, like the FAQs, that people have when they are asking about what you do and making their decision, going through their process toward deciding to work with you?
Most of the time, people, well, it depends. If they've never worked with a coach before, then they wonder if coaching will, quote, work, as if they think it's some mystical process. We live in a download and double click world where we think we're going to go to aisle 13 and a half, kind of like platform 9 3/4 on Harry Potter, and we're going to get some magic stuff that we pour on our current life to get magic results. No athlete ever did that who's achieved top performing status. No one ever does that. So if a person has not had a coach before, they need to prepare themselves to understand and to be ready to do the work that it takes to transform themselves. If they have had a coach before and they have had results and they get the idea of coaching, then it's just a matter of chemistry. Do I make them feel connected to their purpose? Does each conversation make them feel closer and more powerfully certain of their goals? Those are the things that matter. We actually coach before we sign, so people get a sense, like having a Costco sample day. They got to see it, taste it, and then they know.
That's an interesting approach. What are some questions you wish people would ask?
I wish people would ask themselves, are they truly ready to do the work? Because most of the time they haven't thoroughly considered that. You got where you are in your life because of how you show up, how you behave. If you want to end up somewhere else, have a different life, have a different income level, have a different kind of world, you have to create it. So that means you can't be who you're being today. You have to be somebody different. Not that there's anything wrong with you now, but if you want to show up differently, you want to make more money. The billionaire shows up every day differently than the guy who's working hour to hour. And you got to be ready to make those changes.
Wow, that's a really interesting way of looking at it, because we've all heard the cliche, everybody has the same 24 hours. And I actually call BS on that, because no, we don't have the same 24 hours, because we don't all come from the same place. We don't have the same stuff handed to us. We're not in the same starting position, the same circumstances. What we do have control over is how we utilize that time. It's the results may be different based on where we are, but to me, there's no limit on how far you can go if you really want to.
Absolutely. 24 hours, when people say that, that means the clock ticks the same for me and you and everybody else. But some people do a lot more, create a lot more, and live a lot fuller and richer in those same minutes. And that depends on the lenses you wear and how you choose to approach each of those minutes that tick by.
Yeah. So let's shift gears here and have a little bit of fun. Kellan, what is something that people who know you would be surprised to learn about you?
People who know me would be surprised that my tennis, or in high school, my sport that I lettered in was tennis. Most people never know that I actually played tennis at a reasonable level and don't anymore. So they wouldn't know that.
What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
Honestly, what I hope people say is that being in my presence, conversing, made them feel more whole, more connected, and like they were worth more because we got to be together and talk.
I've known you for 5-6 years now, and that's kind of how I felt after every interaction I've had with you. You and I were involved in something together early on, and one of the blessings is our friendship has continued over the years.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I had a conversation yesterday with someone I'd never met before. And in that vein, they were convinced that they did not have anything valuable to give to the world, especially after they heard about me and you've done this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And I got done and I said, okay, you have a real story that matters. And they challenged me on it. So I asked a few questions about some different things that they'd been through. And after they told me some stuff about their mom and some illnesses that had happened and what had gone on, I retold them what they told me in my words about what I'd heard, and they were in tears and said, I couldn't have imagined such a thing. And I said, now you have a story. You have a place of power from which to approach your life. I love doing that. I love helping people understand who they really are.
That's really, really powerful. Now, if you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing you've experienced, what would it be and why?
So that's a question we often get when mistakes. I've made more mistakes than I can count. I've been unkind and wrong and done all kinds of things that I would never do again. But I would not go back and change anything, because all of those things have gone into making me who I am, where I am, with the connection and certainty I have about my position in the world, and a love of my opportunities, of God, of what's in front of me that I could never replace. So I wouldn't change anything.
What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And if you had the opportunity, what questions would you have for them?
Opportunity to meet, a lot of people say different people for different reasons, but there's no question for me, it would be Christ, who lived 2,000 years ago, would be my absolute number one pick, hands down, above all others a million times.
Yeah. What question would you have for him?
The question I would ask Christ: how can I most honor his teaching and life as I live my life every day? What would he tell me? Because I'm assuming his position as the Son of God, so he knows me. I would say, what do I need to do more and better than I'm doing right now so I can be better?
Yeah. Jesus Christ is one of the people I'd like to meet as well in person. I mean, I feel his presence in my life every day. And as I love to tell people, there are two things about Jesus, and this is just a reflection of how I feel a personal relationship with him. You know that expression, WWJD, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
And I like to remind people that going into the marketplace with a whip and just chasing the merchants out of there and going absolutely bananas, kicking tables over, is one of the options when you want to know what Jesus would do.
It is. It didn't happen often, but when it was required, he took a stand, and it was clear.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other one is, and I'm going somewhere with this, so hang tight, audience.
I'm good.
The other one is, I like to say that Jesus was the guy who, if he went to the bar with his buddies, they'd all sit down, the server would come over and ask what they'd want, and they'd say, "Oh, we'll just have water, thanks."
That guy.
So where I'm going with this is, my question for him is, I'd say, Jesus, I've seen and read all these stories about you. What's the real story? Because being such an interesting character, being both the Son of God and being a man, that's a unique perspective and a unique life. And I'd like to see how we balance those two.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the number of things that I'd love to hear and talk about and just be there. I suspect that just being in the presence of someone that advanced, powerful, capable would be an experience.
Yeah. What motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
I've written a document called the Personal Truth and Commitment Statement. It's very personal. It's something that I crafted that needed, coming from a background of depression and trying to prove myself all the time, crafting a statement that simply was a declaration of who I am. Even though I know I fall short, even though I fail regularly, rereading, I have it memorized, it's 8 pages, rereading, reciting, taking it apart, living into each sentence, each word, that keeps me going. When I don't feel like something, I pull out the PTAC, Personal Truth and Commitment. I go over that. I remind myself that I am this. Why? Because I said so. Works every time.
That's great. And finally, and I know you have a special invitation for our listeners, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'll share that with them. In general, right now, what is one action you would encourage our listeners to take as soon as they finish streaming this episode?
I would encourage you to make a firm commitment to love yourself more deeply. You cannot love and serve others more than you love yourself. If you doubt your own divine worth, the mirror is the right place to start. Loving yourself and taking care of yourself. I don't mean self-indulgence and selfishness, but I mean caring for that true divine being is the thing I want you to do right now more than anything.
That's fantastic. Well, first of all, I'm so grateful that you were willing to be with us here today. And before you go, here's the invitation you want to share with our listeners. If the person who's tuning in right now is watching this on the video version on our post at brilliancepluspassion.com, you'll see on the screen it says Your Ultimate Life with Kellan Fluckiger on Audible. So go to Audible and search for that podcast, and you will get a world of infinite possibilities, incredible creation, and amazing fun. A mix of topics from banishing fear, thriving when things are tough, transforming your life to create your own ultimate life. And you're going to get a mix of fireside chats, solo rants, interviews, and current trends. This is one that I've been subscribing to for a solid minute now. And Kellan is somebody who truly serves from his intersection of his brilliance and passion. I can tell you from having sampled a few of these, he lives it. So if you are on our website, go down to the show notes. I have the link to the Amazon channel on Audible where you'll find us. It has a lot of little characters and numbers and letters in it, so it's hard for me to say it out loud. But on the screen, if you're watching the video, you're looking for Your Ultimate Life with Kellan Fluckiger on Audible. And with that, Kellan, thank you again. It's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate being here, and I love what you are about and how you are adding good to the world.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance plus Passion podcast.